Welcome back to part 2 of the Cataclysm raids. This is the Believe Me If You Don't podcast. So we're just going to continue right into it. The next raid is going to be Firelands. It's really hot in there. It's pretty fiery. So, yeah, it's pretty cool in there.
One of the best raids ever made.
Absolutely, definitely one of my favorite raids. But pre to Fireland's opening, do y'all remember the dailies in
Yes, I
Molten
loved them.
Front?
They were awful.
They were an excellent form of dailies, and I got to troll a lot of people because I had Typhoon because I went Boomkin when I did them, and knocked people off of the map when I dueled them, and I won the duels instantly.
You're just toxic. That's what you are.
It was hilarious. So
yeah, it was one of the best versions of the dailies they did.
Yeah, I got a lot of people from the Broken killed because of it.
Yeah. Y'all, who was it though? It was me and Donkey, and in Spida, and it was one other person that we broke the dailies where we got it a day early or something like that.
You don't need to tell Blizzard that.
They know they rolled it back on us.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, anyway, we broke the system. It was pretty cool. We stayed up till like 3 a.m. or something, and just did the next day, but we skipped something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely one of the better dailies that they implemented, and it just went really well into Firelands.
Not the
So,
best ones,
who the best?
Sunwall Island dailies were the best
Oh,
ones.
I can't comment on that because I never did them. So.
Oh, Isle of Qualidanus, very good. But yeah, Molten Flood definitely one of the better ones.
I liked mop dailies the most.
You're wrong. Go farm somewhere else.
So wrong.
I like farming, boys.
Dailies was awful in the beginning.
Farm it up. Shadow Pan dailies, fantastic.
You didn't like having to do 25 dailies every day. You had to max out the daily counter. That was cool. It was so fun because you needed the rep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily,
Talk about a hypothetical there, Rick. You know. So yeah, Firelands, awesome raid. Only did 20 or 10 men. Notable bosses for myself. Shinox. He was okay. I liked how he padded around the arena, and then you had to catch him off guard or whatever. And if you didn't clear some of the trash, it made it that much harder. I do remember setting up, like at the beginning, to farm the what was it?
BOEs.
Yes, the BOEs.
There was also rep in the raid.
Well, the reps, but mainly the BOEs at the beginning because they were kind of good, but you also get the gold out of them and stuff. But yeah, Shinox was good. This was also one of my peak moments in WoW when I got to play the actual spec of a hunter, the correct spec, the best spec, the spec that should be in the game to this day.
Marksmanship?
Survival.
I mean, it's really good right now.
I'm a hunter, bro. Let me shoot shit. My pet dumb. I don't care.
Eagles at things.
Jesus. Anyways, Fireland Survival was awesome. That was one of the most fun times I had raiding with a DPS spec.
What did you think of Jimmy Two Toes?
Jimmy Two Toes can go suck my knob. He was also a garbage ass hunter on Mock Nathal.
That's me.
For anyone, if he ever comes to this podcast, I just want to let you know, Jimmy, you're garbage. Also, Drunk Dwarf, an Alliance Dwarf on Mock Nathal. Another garbage can. But I'm going to quit ranting. Betalak, she was okay. I kind of hated the whole web mechanic going up. That was hard to communicate sometimes. But yeah. But for me, survival, I got a pretty good ranking on Rylith. I don't know if it was me,
Can we
padding my
not talk about
numbers.
Rylith? The hell?
I don't know if it was me padding my numbers, but it was dope to, just spam some stuff and get some serpent stings on everybody. If we had a better navigator in aka Wawadonki,
I wasn't even the leader for that fight.
Yeah, well, it's
Kyle
okay
led
being-
us.
Well, that's why we
killed it once and then we were done.
we killed it on Hiroko at one time, and then we
Yeah.
just stopped after that. Understandable
we
there.
never went back to it again. The fight was awful. Everything else was so much fun, and then you hit the rock, and it's like, why are you a thing? And why do we have to have one of our tanks go DPS so we can kite blood?
Yeah. And then Alice Razor. Alishazor. Stupid bird. I think that fight would have been much better had we had the proper classes that benefited from the haste instead of sending the survival hunter up. But yeah, it was cool to fly around and in the rings, because I'm
really
a
have
master.
anybody who could make use out of the haste.
Well, we had Spida. Wasn't Boomkin okay with the haste?
You mostly wanted a major or Shadow Priest. Like them.
Well, yeah.
Firebrand, Shadow Priest, or Warlock.
Well, it's really cool that we had nobody that knew how to play those specs. And then Balrog. Right, Rack? Is that how
Yeah.
you say his name? Yep,
Balrog.
Mm-hmm.
Balrog?
Yep, Balrog. It was an okay fight. Domo, that was a fun fight, at least for me. What was the stupid mechanic that you had to do, though?
Fire orbs?
Yes, the fire orbs.
He changed form based on whether or not your group was stacked or apart.
Yeah.
Also,
That
that was very cool.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. Being a survival hunter, you could actually move instead of the WOD version of Marks, where you were a literal turret. And then Rag, just an iconic boss, and his fight in general was just epic. Now, it wasn't cool that my two main tanks thought it was awesome to tab out during that fight.
It was
But,
just me.
Two is.
It was just me.
oh, okay, sorry, that one guy.
Rack couldn't.
Oh,
If
yeah,
he did,
true.
he was dead.
We'll,
he was
get
global.
there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
that was the best part. I loved it. It was hilarious.
But no, that was definitely awesome, and that was one of the better races, like world number 1 races and stuff with Paragon. They're just so epic to watch them kill that fight. But yeah, who wants to go next?
Really off the cuff tonight.
Just anyone take it.
I'll go.
All right, go for it.
Going through them. Bethelak. I didn't care for that fight because I was the down tank and I would have to deal with that stupid drone. Sometimes solo, so after we got the Dragon Soul gear and we would go back and do it, I would have to do the double Soul Drinker and keep myself up. Remember that one pug we did?
Oh yeah,
I know you do.
I know
Yeah.
Kira remembers too.
Yep. Didn't like that fight all that much. Rylith, I'm not talking about it. That fight was me at my most toxic and I don't want to remember it. Terrible.
Wasn't Hagara or Garelon?
No. No.
But okay,
Rylith is where I was just an awful person to the raid.
Yeah, obviously we had some just straight dumbasses, and I don't. But was the guiding mechanic cool at least?
No.
No.
Really?
It was too finicky.
Yeah. Had it been better, though, hypothetically, would it be better in your eyes?
No, it was a bad fight. It was the only fight I disliked in that raid.
Guys, I
It had
shined
a
in
bad
that
mechanic.
fight.
It had a bad mechanic at the start, and then once you got through that mechanic, it was just a tank and spank fight. It wasn't interesting.
Fair enough.
Elishazor, Really cool fight. Segmented into a bunch of different phases where you had to do a bunch of things. From the tank perspective, because this is the raid where I fully switched over to being the tank. All these fights were neat, but a lot of them had just one tank aspects, like Rylith, one tank, Balrog, one tank. I guess that's it. You could technically do stack. No, we did do stack on one tank, didn't we? Yeah.
Major don't. Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But I was playing Death Knight tank in the Blood Spec, and this is the period where it was famous for just getting absolutely fucked. Because the Death Knight tanks who were doing the heroic tier beforehand, they were noticing the damage spikes were really, really high, and you could just get globaled on a lot of fights, like Sinestra. And whenever we got to the harder bosses here, that started happening on occasion. It's like on Shanox, I was Riplim's tank. And to deal with his damage, I would have to constantly be watching how many runes I had. Because if you had all your runes on cooldown, you got a 10% damage reduction. So I had to like install trackers to make sure that I was just keeping my damage reduction up.
And I'm here just like, I'm a bear.
Yeah.
What's
Bear's
up,
just face tanking
fuckers?
I'm having to watch Death Strike. I'm having to watch Blood Tap, all
Oh.
that shit, and just keeping myself up.
I'm over
And
here
he's
playing
just over there.
a one-button
Fine.
macro for my entire
Yeah.
rotation, tabbing out.
Balrog, he's the gatekeeper. His mechanics weren't too hard. It was really interesting being the take on him. So, if your healer's screwed up, you die. You remember Decimation Blade, Donkey?
Yes.
Yeah. You either dodge that attack or you die.
Mm-hmm.
Staghelm. Cool fight from a DPS perspective. I don't remember taking him being all that hard. Yeah.
Stood
He was
still,
fine. Yeah.
but it was really fun seeing all the phases and all that stuff.
I think cat phase is where his damage was really high. Yeah, because he would just keep meleeing over and over again.
Yeah.
And if your healers couldn't keep up, it would bring you pretty low.
Scorpion phase was a lot of damage too if you got too many stacks.
Yeah, but that was split amongst all of you. You never actually took a melee from him. He just kept doing Flame Scythe.
That's fair.
And Ragnaros, I mean, what can we say about him? He was a great fight. Really fucking complicated. Yeah, I'm getting there. Chill. I remember on one of our good polls where I realized, oh, I need to actually really fucking focus on this fight. There was a very specific sequence of events. There was a mechanic called the Magma Trap, where he would spawn a trap somewhere in the room. A mage or somebody who could teleport or not take fall damage would have to set it off. Setting it off would throw them up in the air and deal a shitload of damage to the raid. His melee attacks, if you didn't avoid them, would stack a dot on you. And his melee damage itself was really, really high. So, at one point when we'd set off a trap, within the period of 2.5 seconds, that's his swing timer, he meleeed me, the magma trap went off, and the dot tick went off, and I died instantly. There was no keeping me up from that.
Bam, dead.
Pissed me the fuck off. I just got globaled. That's not supposed to happen to a tank ever, but it did. I realized I've gotta really focus on this fight. Whereas my co-tank over here, what'd you do, Donkey?
I was on a laptop and I wanted to change my music constantly. So what I would do is I would hit the boss with lacerate a few times, mangle it, pulverize it, put some more lacerates up, and then tab out. Didn't even hit my active mitigation. Didn't matter because I'm a bear. Changed my song, and then looked up some other stuff. Went to like addictinggames.com, played a few games sometimes, and then tab back in. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Rack can taunt now because the stacks are done. So, yeah, I played other games during it. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Jesus Christ.
I had a one-button macro for one time because I was just fucking around. It was like, let's put all my abilities in one button and see what happens. And it was flawless. I tested it out on heroic Shanox and did not die.
That's my thoughts on this raid. It's a great raid. It is a great raid.
It was a
Just,
phenomenal raid. I liked every fight except Rylith.
My class was not designed to do the things that we were doing with it.
I mean, you weren't designed for Dragon Soul either. I'm just going to say that right now. Madness says hello.
We're
Hey.
we got to heroic rag, right? We didn't kill heroic rag, or did we?
We killed everything but Rag. Yes,
Yeah,
we never attempted it because Dragon Soul came out.
yeah. I mean, it was a hard fight,
It
regardless.
was ridiculous. Going back with the open raid thing, I was like, "What is happening right now?" And then legs happened, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
One of those fights where you get a completely new fight for the last phase.
that's cool though. They should do that. It shouldn't just be the same thing with extra numbers or maybe an extra ad or two.
Yep.
Well, since you're hot right now, Donkey, go for it.
I mean, that was kind of it. It was kind of my take. I don't know. It's just a good raid. I loved it. I liked everything. I liked going up on the spider for Beth Flag. Shanox was fun. I think the trash before Beth Flag was harder than Beth Flag.
Yep.
Because they nerfed those dogs multiple times.
Yeah.
They had to nerf it specifically. And they had to nerf the worms going to Ragnaros. I remember that. Because Paragon was wiping to them. It was just like, what's happening right now? So, I don't know. Other than that, it's just a fun raid. I played a lot. Did a lot of dailies. And got mounts, because I love mounts. That's pretty much it.
He is a Maltor.
Yes, sir.
Did we definitely didn't have anybody that had the legendary, right? We had like
no,
2 people.
every person that we assigned to get the so and so legendary quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like a guild curse. If you were dubbed the next person to get Taragosa, you're quitting. Like there's something's happening and you're quitting.
Yeah. That we actually finished second that tier on mock, right?
Yep.
Did we?
We finished the Horde Guild ahead of us. I can't remember their name now, but was it
Broken? Well, they rebranded
Broken
to
left.
Klondike
This was
5.
like their last thing.
Yeah, this was their last. Yeah.
Well, okay,
I remember messaging the old GM like as we were doing our actual Ragnaros kill and said, "Oh, we did it one pull tonight," and he was impressed.
Was it Olo?
No,
Throm?
I'm serious. Yeah.
Throm was
And
dope.
Throm was awesome. And then Effin took over, and the guild became Klondike 5, and they died. So
Garbage can.
they wanted me to heal for them. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to go with Effin. If it was Throm, I would have considered it, and then I wouldn't have known y'all fuckers.
Well, we thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. I'm glad I met y'all.
Jordan, did you do anything with Firelands, or did you do open raid with anything?
I did some open raid stuff. Sorry, I got a little disoriented because my Discord DC'd. But yeah. Some open raid stuff, some stuff with you guys, like doing the achievement runs on normal and everything. But I'll mainly speak about heroic. Bethelak, it's all right. Like I didn't mind the going up mechanic. It was like if you went up, the fight was probably fun. If you stayed down, it probably wasn't that great. So. Rylith, I didn't experience the misery like you guys did. I thought it was kind of funny that you could make the boss like spin in a fucking circle if you wanted to. I remember like trolling my raid that I was in sometimes because they would tell me to hit the left leg and I would be hitting the other one just to make the boss turn because I wanted them to try to out DPS me. Aliciazor.
Never mind, Jordan is more toxic.
That's so toxic.
Aliciazor is one of my favorite fights. Absolutely wonderful encounter. Very good. Shanox is stupid just because I hated the dumbass achievement where I had to drag his fucking ass all around the whole raid, and we had to get that shit for like 8 different people, and it was ass. Oh god, it's just not fun. And like, and on top of that, it's like you had to kill enough trash to get him to spawn or whatever, and eventually he would spawn, and then you had to still worry about him while you were clearing more trash or working your way around like different bugs. Like, oh, Shanox is coming, and then you got to move, and then someone pulled him. It's like, I guess we're doing Shanox, and then it gets fucked. And it's just so fucking annoying. Such a stupid mechanic. Hope they never do that again.
They did bring that back multiple times.
Yeah, it just doesn't mean I want it ever again. I don't want bosses patrolling. Okay, that's not fun. Balrog, kind of a tank and spank fight for DPS, pretty much. I don't really remember having to do anything besides like standing in the crystal when you needed to and not being in the crystal, right?
Yep.
That's really all DPS had to do. And as a warrior,
healers and tanks that have to do with mechanics.
Like as a warrior, I had to soak majority of it because warrior defensives were fucking awesome, and I could just eat most of it on my own. Domo, I thought the fact that you could change his phases depending on like whether the group was stacked or spread was cool. I really liked that mechanic. Thought that was neat. Obviously, Rag is one of their best fights they've ever made. One of my best memories of Ragnaros is doing an open raid thing where we did, I think it was like 50, 60 pulls nonstop, and we didn't kill it, but I had fun the entire time because that fight is just fun. It's just good. It was like, and I think when you can do a fight for that long and not really I never really got stressed or annoyed or anything because like everybody was kind of making mistakes, even the raid leader, just because that fight was hard as shit. Like that fight was harder than anything in Dragon Soul, besides like pre-nerf spine, I guess. Yeah. Overall, Firelands, pretty fucking awesome raid. That's my take.
Yeah, I know clearly in World of Warcraft, no boss can technically ever die because you just bring them back on a whim. But I'm 100% glad that they brought Rag back and made him, that much better. Kiwi, I know you said you didn't really raid. Do you have any thoughts on the wonderful raid?
So my guild died at the end of end of Kata's first tier. So I didn't do Firelands as much as everyone was like, oh my god, this raid's amazing. It was so good. And I think the first time I went in there was whenever I leveled, I think, my troll rogue with you guys. And I don't know why you guys went in there. Maybe it was like ages, did other expansions probably. But Bethelaang seemed awful. Any ad fight sucks. Rylith, yeah, I don't like spinning legs, but that would be fun to pad on those. I'm not gonna lie.
It was fun.
Alistrazor, yeah, no one likes flying or swimming. It's the same thing. It's always bad. Shanox, again, I'd gladly cleave those dogs, even though that's a big no-no. Was it?
I didn't really do it on that fight.
Yeah, didn't you just drag him off into space?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Riplin
that
was
just
handled
split.
by a tank, and Rageface would just go after whoever. He wasn't tankable.
You raged on
Yep.
somebody's face.
He would fixate on somebody, then pick somebody else to stun and rage on them until you broke him out.
Balrog, yeah, I don't really remember much of him at all. I don't remember what he does.
If you weren't a tank or a healer, there wasn't really much to think about.
DPS your brains out.
Yep, he's the gatekeeper.
Domo was neat. The fact, yeah, that like I think Rack said earlier that when he changed forms, depending on who was near or who was farther away for your group, Scorpion was fun. I liked fighting him when he's in Scorpion form. Cat form can go suck it. And then yeah, Rag with legs. I don't have much to say other than that.
Did you do Molten Core like vanilla? Like
No, I
oh,
didn't. No, but I think I didn't start playing till Friday, the very end of vanilla, so it was already over.
oh okay. Well, obviously you did classic. So any comparison you could bring
Zero
or
at all.
take?
There is no comparison between those fights.
True.
One had him sitting still. I guess either way he summoned fire ads. He had that mechanic where when he submerged, he summoned ads that you had to kill before they breached him. Which these
Yeah.
ads didn't really reach him; they just sort of clapped your raid in vanilla. So, but on that, no, not really.
Yeah. Understandable. But yeah, overall, Firelands definitely one of the better raids that they've ever put out, and the iconic fight with Ragnaros was epic. Moving on to Dragon Soul. Can we all agree it was one of the biggest letdown raids in terms of lore, end of expansion?
I think it's just the Deathwing fights were disappointing.
Yep. Had some good
But other than
fights.
that, the raid was awesome. Hagara can fuck off.
It had some good fights, but the Deathwing fights.
it was rushed.
Huge letdown. Huge fucking letdown.
I mean, it came out because Guild Wars 2 was in the like Guild Wars was coming out, whatever.
Had you
Yeah,
competing with fucking Guild Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, typical
Right.
Blizzard, gotta compete
somehow
and
made a
show
comeback. So people are
flex
playing
on
again.
them. I will
Yeah.
obviously just go ahead and get it out of the way for one of the most epic fails I had as a raid leader, GM, person in Vigil of Magnathal. So we're doing this one stupid boss, Your Saj, the
Great
Unsleeping.
Great fight.
Yeah, it was a cool fight and all. We had this one mage. He's never gonna listen to this podcast, so I can say his name. Crit. He was not good at World of Warcraft. Not that I'm a great player by any means, but he was just not good. But you know, you had to back then. Well, at least for Moknathal and Vigil in particular, you had to take who you had, and we had him. And something. What item was it? What dropped? Do you remember?
No.
No.
Oh, it's oh my fucking god! It's one of the shared boss trinkets that dropped.
There's Cunning of the Cruel or Insignia of the Corrupted Mind.
I think it's Cunning of the Cruel.
Yeah, Cunning of the Cruel.
That trinket was all those trinkets were nuts. So they were like you would fiend hard for those.
Yes. Okay. Well, that a trinket drop, probably that one, and in Vigil, I hated DKP or anything like that. That's too hard to keep up with. We just literally slash rolled and then kind of, said maybe, hey, this person needs a little bit more. But most of the time we
was
just
updated by that point anyway. It was on its way out. So
what was it then? GKP?
no, I mean DKP as like no one uses that shit anymore, dude.
Well, I guess yeah, everybody went to Loot Council and stuff like that. But yeah, so we just slash rolled, and whoever was highest most of the time took it. I had so many whispers when he rolled higher than who was it was competing with? It was Matt, right? On his rogue, not that one, but Cameron.
I really don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Cameron.
Well, Cunning of the Crow is a DPS. It was a caster trinket, so it had to be another caster. Cameron did play a mage at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he played his mage in Dragon Soul with us just for a little bit or whatever. But yeah, I got so many whispers. I'm pretty sure Cameron raged at me that night, and it was quite funny, I thought. But yeah, I shouldn't have gave it to him because he was bad, but I did. And once we get to another wonderful raid, we'll talk about the other mistake I made, possibly giving something to a much better bear tank back then.
I'm living. I'm fun. Have fun.
But yeah, that was definitely one of my many mistakes as a raid leader, giving an item to someone who definitely did not deserve it. But you had to take who you had back then, so you had to maybe keep some people happy. Donkey, you wanna start?
I mean, my favorite thing was when we killed Morchok 10 times in a row on Heroic. We got the same 2 pieces of loot 10 weeks in a row.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was the neck, and what was the other piece that we got constantly?
The vagaries of time.
Was that the weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that and the freaking neck. Every freaking... For 10 weeks. I shit you not, 10 weeks. I put in a ticket to Blizzard saying, hey, our loot is broken. We need you to fix this. And like, you can't do anything about it. It was absolutely stupid. But
I think it was there for a few of those.
Yeah, it made no sense. But I liked every boss. And Morchok was a very fun first boss,
Agreed.
to tank. Xanax was very hard, but it was fun. Who am I echoing through?
Probably me.
I'm sorry. I'm loud. Yorsage was very fun. I know when I tanked it on LFR, I would be falling asleep and I have to run in circles around the boss to stop falling asleep. That was really fun. Hagara, fun fight, but brutal as shit. Altraxian, I liked it. I think healers had a lot more fun because you got like those crystals, you got different powers. Blackhorn hurt so bad. Spine didn't care for it on normal, and Madness didn't care for it on normal. I know Rack loved Madness on normal because he would get globaled sometimes by the tentacles. And I was just looking for the Kirill Fury of the Beasts weapon, which dropped very early on, and it just gave a lot of agility and increased my size so much that whenever we went back to Firelands, when we died, you used to spawn outside of the instance, and you had to fly back in. And I couldn't get back in because we just did Balrog, and Balrog's tank mechanic also made you very large. So I was like this super giant ghost, and I couldn't get back into the raid for 2 minutes. That's what I remember. But, yeah. Pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, titties. Jordan?
Dragon Soul, even though I didn't care for it, it holds kind of a special place for me because it's obviously where I met you guys for the first time and where I started to like actually learn how to be like a better raider and honestly a better person. So, but I'll save that for a different day. The bosses, I actually thought Morchok was a pretty cool first boss. He actually did quite a bit of raid damage too for a first boss. Like whenever he did the stomps or whatever, or, like, I think the raid would drop to like almost 10% HP sometimes. Zanaz, I actually enjoyed that fight quite a bit, even if it was extraordinarily melee unfriendly, having to run across the fucking room to get goddamn tentacles. Holy shit. And same thing on Yorsage. Didn't really mind either fight, but they were not the most melee friendly encounters in the world. I mean, hence, I'm pretty sure Dragon Soul's the raid that had like that hidden 20% buff to melee, right? Since most of the fights in there were pretty shit for us.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It had some shit like some hidden buff or whatever that buff melee by quite a bit. Hagara, the only thing I remember on Hagara is doing LFR on my priest and trying to life grip people into the death wall. That was mean as shit.
You are a menace.
I remember it got me killed a lot, but anytime I'd get people, it made me laugh, and they would piss and moan in chat, like, what the fuck just happened?
I mean, I can't say much, because I used to put the portal down where Hagara's portal went as a mage, just to mess with people, see if people get ported out.
You guys are the problem of why LFR is so terrible.
He also held loot ransom back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you got that piece. I want it. You get this piece.
Altraxian, I love patchwork fights. I know they're kind of hit or miss for people, but I love fights that make you push your damage. And for healers, it's like they really have to min max their mana usage and everything to make sure that the healing that they're putting out is efficient. Otherwise, they run out by the end because the bosses start doing just so much fucking damage, be it to the raid or to the tank, and they can't keep up. That shit is just cool to me because it really just tests your ability to just push your performance to its absolute limit. Not mechanically, but just when it comes to damage and healing and tanking as well. It's on tanks as well to mitigate themselves properly. Blackhorn would have been a good fight if it wasn't for the initial bit. The fucking goddamn dude, when you had to fucking just sit there and shoot the fucking drakes out of the sky, it was just like, come on, man, let's just get on with it. Like, once he came down and the fight actually began, then it was cool. And he did like a lot of damage to the raid, and he fucking smacked up the tanks. And on heroic, you had to deal with his big fucking dragon landing on the platform too, and making things even more interesting. Just the initial bit for Blackhorn just needs to be removed or shortened or something. And then, man, oh god, Spine and Madness. The only fun memory I have of Spine is, again, was doing an open raid thing. This is when I was trying to clear Heroic Dragon Soul. And I was on Spine, and we had cleared every other boss in one shot, whatever, no big deal. And the raid leader specifically said, when we got to Spine, it's like, all right, guys, DPS check isn't as bad now. It's still kind of tight, but nobody go in early because, like, whenever the plate was popping off, right? When it popped, it exploded. If you were near it, you would die, right? Like whenever the plate actually flew up and you could hit the tendon or whatever. If you were near it, you would die. And of course, I'm trying to min-max my damage as much as possible. Well, guess who Heroic leaped in too early? Me. And I died in front of everybody. And while he was saying that, he's like, all right, nobody go in early. He literally, it was like, I didn't even miss a beat. He said, all right, plate's coming up. Nobody go in early. Guess what happens? Leap in, dead. He's like, wow, of course, some fucking idiot goes in there right when I said it. Just wipe. And then I got reamed, and then we went in and then killed it the next pull, and then Madness, took a few pulls, but whatever. Madness is, I don't know, man, just really uninteresting encounter. Like, a lot of damage on Heroic, like, again, I think it was more of a healer fight than anything, because with DPS, it was just jumping around the platforms and just killing priority targets and then AoEing down the bloods at the end, which is kind of fun, I guess, as a warrior. As I had fucking Blade Storm and everything, but I don't know. Dragon Soul as a whole, just a letdown, but it will always hold a bit of a special place for me because of personal reasons. But not a horrendous raid, but two very piss poor end bosses.
You don't want to mention your love?
What love? Oh, well, if we want to talk about loot, then it may as well be the best raid ever because it drops the greatest two-hander the game has ever seen, maybe besides Shadowmourne, but that wasn't a drop. You had to craft that. Garthalak, and going into Warsong Gulch and farming people with Garthalak and Bone Link Fetish and spawning like 8 tentacles when I blade stormed a graveyard, and people were just getting fucking tased, and I would end Battlegrounds with like 50 killing blows and like ridiculous amounts of damage. That was the best time for PvP for me. I didn't give a shit about rated PvP, it was whatever, but going into random BGs with all my PvE gear on and a heal bot to follow me around was the best. You can say it took no skill, it didn't, I don't care. I was having so much fun just killing fucking poor innocent people who came in with like, because they would go into end time and all the dungeons, right? Because they would get like their catch-up gear and be like, all right, I'm gonna PvP, and then I would kick them out of my fucking battleground, like, get out of here. This is my BG. I'm in here with my fucking heroic Dragon Soul gear. Fuck off. And I would just clap cheeks, and it was the best time ever. There
I wonder what
will
it's like getting a trinket.
never be another time like that. And
There shouldn't be.
Everyone gets trinkets.
Terrible.
Hey, dirty Gertie,
we
bro.
We never got in Donald Pride.
I mean, I never saw a heroic bowling fetish ever. I think we saw a normal one time, and it went to me, and then I don't think we ever saw another one. Because surprise, shared loot on a 10-man loot system sucks ass. I think, Donkey, I think you and me went with a 25-man normal group one time when we weren't raiding with Vigil, and I think we saw like a bunch of those trinkets drop, but it was like the ones that we didn't use, like Cunning of the Cruel, or
Yeah.
there was a healer one too, right? I don't know what the fuck it was.
Yup.
What was the healer one actually? Shared drops. Windward Heart, yeah. Vilest Shadows was the Agi one. That one was also ridiculous too. All those trinkets were nuts, actually. What am I talking about?
They were pretty fun.
But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the patchwork for Aldraxian. It was definitely fun as a DPS. Well, Kui, we know you didn't raid, but
Yep,
since
yep.
you're our token rogue, and this raid had legendary stabs, so thoughts on them?
So, rogues had a terrible population, and they probably still do. And most people hate rogues' guts because PvP, and they get bully, and they get mad.
Oh, I wonder why.
I wonder why, you ankle biter fuck.
But Dragon Soul introduced a legendary for rogues only to try and fill up the population with more of them because everyone loves legendaries, and that's sort of what flavor of the month for that type of raid will be if they get a legendary. So I think they were called Fangs of the Father. They were broken. It's a massive. I think I got a good agi proc, and then like every combo point generator gave you 5 points. Am I wrong? I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know. Morphic
But-
had them, so
Yeah, like they were just beyond busted. You saw rogues in PvP get 10 times worse because they would just eat you alive. And you'd be dead in a couple globals.
Yeah, it would give you a shitload of agility, and you get Fury of the Destroyer, which would immediately grant you 5 combo points and cause your next finishing moves to generate 5 combo points for 6 seconds. So you could just
spam. That feels so
could
good.
spam Eviscerate or whatever the other ones were, and just fucking rip people to shreds. So,
But yeah, I like briefly started playing again in Dragon Soul, but I wasn't hunting those daggers because at the end of the day, I just don't care that much. I'd be too far behind. But I didn't really do many heroic fights. I'd probably say my favorite fight in there would probably have been. I liked Old Traxian just because you got an additional button to try and get a dummy check on people. Of hey, you need to hit this or you dead. My favorite fight in there probably would actually been Yorsage. As much as killing ads is snooze, I liked killing ads because, you can go in and blade flare my brains out and have happiness. Morchok I didn't like. Him splitting, I believe, was a heroic mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was pretty neat. But he's a rock giant that just does a bunch of AoE damage. It wasn't anything special to me. All the trash in front of him too made me hate my life, even if you could just sort of clear a little bit and then skip past it.
You had to clear more of it on heroic because you needed the space.
Yeah, to be able to separate them, I think is what you did.
Yeah.
Had to do.
Yeah.
Zanaz, all I remember is pushing an orb back and forth between people, and then you had it hit him and he took more damage and you clapped him, or something along those lines.
Then spawning a shitload of tentacle ads that needed to die, or they would absolutely fucking tase your raid.
I don't remember anything about Hagara. I'm pretty sure she sucked. Something to do with, like, people had to be positioned somewhere. You had to drag her into areas of the arena. Arena sucked, by the way. It felt dinky.
It's her lightning phase. That was the rough part. Honestly, lightning phase is really hard.
Ultraxian, yeah, like Jordan said earlier, patchwork fights, they're enjoyable because it gets you to actually test yourself as a DPS. And you can't dummy-proof people since it's a simple mechanic, which still makes people mess up. Warmaster, ad fight eventually comes down. I pass. I don't know. Those fights just were never appealing to me. And then for the 2 Deathwing fights, yeah, that was the biggest letdown they could have ever done. You have some monster of an actual villain in the story that's like the ruler of dragons in a way. And yeah, he just I don't know why they never had him fight in his actual human form, even if it would have been like disgraceful in his eyes.
Oh, you didn't like fighting the guy's back and then fighting him in a whirlpool?
Yeah, like I just don't know what was going through their heads to think that was okay.
So many more ideas they could have gone with, like, oh, I don't know, the power of the Dragon Soul hitting him, like, shrunk him down, so you still fight him in dragon form, right? Or he can switch between dragon and human form and all kinds of interesting shit.
What's the main problem is you never truly fought. Like, as big as he was, they could have made an actually really good fight if, like, he could just been a massive dragon, like, huge. But instead, they just basically chopped him up in parts and threw him in these fights.
I mean, it's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like, who's the biggest dragon you fought up to that point? It's probably Cindergosa, right? Like, Cindergosa was pretty fucking huge.
Yeah.
Her or Sinestra.
I'd say Cindergosa was bigger than her.
Sinestra was like, Sinestra is different to me because it's like it's what I would consider like a wall boss. You're not really like, you're just kind of like, hitting something like and facing it. You don't ever have to run behind Sinestra or whatever. You know what I mean?
I don't consider Sinestra like like an actual dragon to an extent, just because she's never on all fours.
Right.
She's more like a humanoid.
She was big, though. I will give you that. She was a big ass model, even though she shared a skeleton with Kill Jaden. But that's fine. Yeah, I think it was probably Cindergosa. So I mean, it's not like they can't do big dragon fights. Obviously, done big dragon fights. There's plenty of ways they could have done it. And like I said, I think the best. I mean, this is what everyone says. Him like jumping in and out of his human form would have been like a really cool mechanic. He summons ads. He has like different debuffs that go out depending on what form he's in or some. I don't know. There's like so many different ideas that they could have done. They just didn't do. So,
bro. Well, thank you, Token Rogue.
You're welcome.
Quick question before Rack finishes off. How do y'all prefer legendaries? Like these, or the Wrath ones, class specific, or you get a dumbass. Everybody gets a dumbass ring to use at certain things, like in WoD, or everybody gets a certain amount, like you did in Legion.
I honestly feel like if they want to do legendaries, they need to do it the way Legion had it at the end of Legion. I think if they want to keep it the way they have it with like legendaries being massive DPS increases, then there needs to be a way to target the one you want. If they don't do that, then legendaries should be strictly utility, but they can be very good utility. Now, again, that can lead to DPS increases, right? Like, for example, there could be one for like warriors that like gives you like 2 extra charges of heroic leap or something like that. You know, or like rogues get more charges of shadow step or something. So in theory, that could lead to damage increases, but that's like on a fight to fight basis. You know what I mean? Like that might not necessarily be a damage increase on every boss. But I feel like that's like their 2 options with legendaries. I'm gonna tell you right now, the way they had it at the start of Legion was garbage. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Shadowlands, it seemed okay. I never really got started on crafting a legendary, so I don't really know what the deal was with it. I mean, the fact that you could like target your stats and everything was nice, I guess. So, but Shadowlands has a slew of other problems besides legendaries to worry about. So, I don't know. Maybe the Shadowlands system works. I can't really comment on it, but I feel like the way Legion had it at the end, where you could get the currency and buy whichever one you wanted, on top of getting random ones here and there, is the way to go.
I like quest legendaries just because they have more meaning and value than, hey, you get a legendary, oh man, everyone gets one.
It's a
Because
balancing nightmare, though, man. That's the problem.
It is, but I think you just, it just doesn't, the legendary doesn't feel legendary anymore. Like, you're just calling it that to just be an item.
No, you're right. They're basically glorified epics at this point. So
Yeah,
with,
like, it's
with
just
a
like
status effect on it.
Yeah, I think the quest ones felt better, but yeah, it's like everyone gravitates towards that class just because that's how people play games nowadays. It seems.
Yeah.
Bro.
I think being able to RNG legendaries, get them out of here. I hate those. They're the worst. You're literally just asking to never see anything.
Never forget the first one I got in Legion. Fucking Agrimar's Stride. So cool, dude. I'm so glad I could move faster.
I got Wraith first.
For sure I got Cephos, so.
I got my best one, so.
I got Lufa's 9th.
Must be nice.
Same week as the first Mage Tower came out. That's when I got my best legendary. That's a whole tier and a half. There was 3 raids before I got my best in slot legendary.
Yeah, he complained about it every day.
Do you remember when you got your first one, though, Donkey?
Oh, yeah, we have that clip. Oh, yes.
I need to find it. I think it's on
but no, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind what they have, like, but it just, they don't feel legendary or epic. They're just like, oh, cool, you got a really upgraded epic now that you get to choose. Like, I think I still prefer the whole you going through the quest and getting the legendary. Like, even as much as I bitch about the WoD legendary with the ring, I do kind of miss that because like everyone's getting that. You're building up to this really powerful thing, and that ring was awesome for tanks. I had like 97% verse or whatever, so I was like, this is amazing, and I didn't have to worry about like, you know, pairing it up with anything like stupid DPS. They got screwed over because it's like, do we give it to the mage? Do we give it to the warrior? Who gets it? So,
Bro. Rack, legendary, and then bosses?
I don't really have any thoughts about the legendaries. Both systems pissed me off. Y'all know I struggled to complete any of them.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Fuck. Anyway, Dragon Soul bosses. Morchok. I kind of got to disagree with both Jordan and Donkey on this one. Morchok was heroic trash. Like on heroic, he became easier than on normal mode.
that's
He's the
true.
only boss I've ever seen that did that.
It's fair. Never said it was hard.
Still fun. I enjoyed it. For what it was.
I thought it was fun.
Zanaz, not fun. Not fun at all. I think that was one of the fights that was one tankable. Don't remember.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah, because the tank swap was his main mechanic. It's not an actual tank swap, it's just increasing damage that you break. But yeah, not fun. Your Saj, really interesting fight. not fun to do. I think this is the fight where I actually had to help with raid leading to figure it out. Does that sound right?
Well, you're pretty smart, so I'd say so.
It mattered what ooze you had to kill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
4
yeah.
oozes. You have to kill the specific one that you needed to get the buff.
And every other strategy was doing it one way, but we couldn't do it that way. So we had
The
to change it
Vigil
up.
way.
Hagara, I'm not talking about her. Ultraxion is the patchwork of patchwork fights. After the fight starts, you do not move. The mechanic that you click, it's technically a stun, but you stay in the same spot the entire fight. You don't move around. And this is the fight that made tanks getting their tier set done the major priority, since this tier, the tank 4 set turned the personals into a raid cooldown, and this fight would cause your raid cooldowns to reset frequently. So it was like absolutely necessary to do this fight. Blackhorn controlling the sappers on phase 1, I think, was the issue. That you would have to break them out of stealth and then pull them all the way back. Because I don't remember them being able to be slowed until they were like low health. And his second phase, that motherfucker hit like a truck. That shit was hard. His Devastate, I remember dying to it. Spine. Did we ever have anybody die to the blast? That sounds like a thing that happened, but I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody got close enough, so.
Yeah. And then Madness, as they have alluded to, the tentacles on each platform killing me because we couldn't get the tank swap off fast enough, Donkey, or kill the ad fast enough.
I think it was more so the ad not dying.
Either way, Donkey might be able to tank 2. I could only ever take the 1. Any more than that, and I was instantly dead. And the fight just went through a repeating cycle over and over again until the very last phase. And our first couple of kills on this, I remember this is one of the only bosses I've ever seen actually hit in rage because of how long the fight is.
Yup.
And the last phase is probably the only good part of the fight because of how fucking rough it is. You have to keep going back and forth between the ads and him and burning him down, because if you leave the ads up to do any ability, they kill off people one by one. Like the tank ads, they hit like a fucking Mack truck. You've got about 10 seconds to get them down before they kill the tanks. The other ads, if they get off any ability cast, the person they're casting it on dies. And throughout the fight, he's putting out his corrupted blood, which is just dealing more and more damage to the entire raid. And once he hits certain percentages, like the last 3%, he increases that damage more and more. So it's just race to the end. That's what makes that part good. If the rest of the fight was as interesting as that, I think it would be an okay fight, but it's not. And so it wasn't. Yeah, that's it.
That is a great observation. I like it.
Did we talk about Jordan charging off the boss?
Literally talked about that in the first fucking episode.
Oh yeah,
dude.
we can mention that where this warrior
Why
came
are we
into
bringing
our
it up
raid,
again?
and he was pretty hot shit, and he just like dove into the water.
It's literally not what happened. Fucking fight bugged out when I charged, and it fucking sent me to the Shadow Realm. Hey.
I don't like you had a lot of issues being a warrior with heroic leap and charging and stuff, you know?
Not my fault. The fucking pathing in the game is fucking Gargle's ass. Okay?
What?
I mean, you aren't wrong. Well, that concludes our wonderful takes on Cataclysm expansion. Does anyone have any closing thoughts?
It's a good expansion. Don't care what the haters say.
I think Kata was good. A lot of flack. I think a lot of the shit people gave it is because like the game had been out for quite some time at that point, and Wrath was just like so highly regarded. Like Wrath is literally World of Warcraft's peak, like in both numbers and like the eyes of the public. Because I'm pretty sure Wrath is like still the record for the game's highest subscriber count ever. Yes.
WoD came close.
I thought it peaked in MoP.
What are you talking about?
The first month of Cataclysm was its highest subscriber.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was just because of Deathwing. I mean,
All
he
right.
was a awesome lore character.
Cat of Talon sucked though. I can get that shit out of here. Beats what we have now or what we have currently in retail, but it was still awkward seeing the talent tree just get gutted.
Hey, any day you want to bring back the real survival, Blizzard, you let me know.
Melee for life.
Stupid rogue. But yeah, it was an okay expansion. The difficulty of most things was awesome, I thought. But yeah. Anyone else?
No, yeah. Back for the peak thing, like WoD. In the first 24 hours, Blizzard sold 3.3 million copies and had over 10 million subscribers for the start of WoD.
Oh, Wrath peaked at 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so WoD was close still. That's not a small thing.
Yeah, 2 million, really close.
Okay, it's still close.
Let's say, I mean, and then the game, yeah.
And
What else
then
had,
it
like,
is
the lowest subscriber count.
bottom
at
line to
one
like
point.
1 million at the end of the so because they gave
You
up
know,
on the expansion.
peaks and valleys, guys. Mainly
Yeah.
valleys. Deep valleys. But yeah. I think we're gonna try to do Mists of Pandaria next. We may have to split that one up again too, just because the raids. Half of the episode is me quitting a couple times, and then challenge modes. So we may have to do a 2-parter on that. But yeah, we're gonna try to split this so you'll have something to watch. Because Donkey, when you leaving? When are you coming back?
I'm leaving in 2 days.
When are you coming back?
6 days after that.
All right. So yeah, hopefully that'll tie to everyone. No, Kiwi.
God, I was like, oh my god, shoot me.
No.
Yeah, we're ending right now, and then we're restarting and bringing Craig back, and we're
I don't have time for that, so I gotta go to work soon.
Craig about to retire. But yeah, thank you for joining us on another episode. Remember our socials, Twitter @Spatchy123. Follow us there so you can keep up when the episode goes live. You can also listen to us on anchor.fm/believe me if you don't, one word. We also have a YouTube, the Believe Me If You Don't podcast, where you can listen to that wonderful video that I create, and mainly on Spotify, the Believe Me If You Don't podcast. But yeah, thank you for joining us on another wonderful episode. And remember, you can believe us if you don't. Goodbye.